Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today I've got an episode of Sniper Sunday. It's been a little while since I've done one of these, and quite a lot has changed to the sniping mechanics since the last episode of Sniper Sunday. I'll be playing with the JNG-90 bolt-action rifle. I'll be completing my mastery with it. That's getting 500 kills to get the mastery dog tag. And I'll be talking about the new zeroing setup since the last patch of Battlefield 4. Let's talk about the zeroing update. Zeroing is where basically you've got your scope set up on your weapon so that when you shoot it, the bullet is going to hit dead center at a specific distance. So what distance do you zero your scope for? In real life, people will often do it at 100 meters, 200 meters, 300 meters, depending on what kind of targeting you're shooting at generally. In Battlefield, the zeroing was pretty much set to, I think, closer to 0 meters. It might have been 50 meters for bolt-action rifles to begin with, but basically they changed it so that it sits at 100 meters by default. And this is something you can actually adjust in-game by hitting the V key on computer. You'll see it at the bottom of the screen. It tells you how to adjust the zeroing on your scope, and as you hit it, it'll cycle through different zeroing distances. This is a fairly underutilized feature. Some people might use it for extreme long distance shooting, but I basically just got used to on the fly quickly adjusting my sight so that I'd be aiming a little bit above my target, since most times it's kind of hard to judge your distance to target, especially on the fly, unless of course you're running with a rangefinder. But again, that's a lot of information to interpret quickly and adjust your scope, and Battlefield is such a fast-paced game that I've just never really found the time to try and operate with some of those optics that are designed for a more realistic shooter. Battlefield is just a little bit too fast-paced to really mess around with zeroing and that sort of thing. So at first I hated this zeroing update because I had spent the last 600 plus hours in Battlefield 4 getting used to sniping at the default zeroing distance, and all of a sudden they changed that to 100 meters, which is a bit of a change up, and it takes a little while to get used to because all of a sudden you're shooting over your target head in close quarters. It's what happens when you zero a weapon to 100 meters. You literally have to aim the scope a little bit below the bullet's projectile, if that makes sense, because the bullet's going to drop over time, so you have to aim a little bit lower, which means in close quarters your shots are literally going to travel over the heads of your opponent. So if you're shooting at somebody super close to you, you're going to want to aim for like their jawline by default, and that's the only way you're going to get a headshot in CQB. At longer range though, you can aim directly for the head, and I was finding it to be very, very easy to nail longer range headshots, no problem, without having to do this weird aim slightly over their head situation. Again, I had gotten very used to aiming slightly over my opponent's heads, but now that I don't have to and I'm getting more used to this 100 meter zeroing, I'm finding that I think I like it a little bit better, at least for the kinds of shooting that you should be doing with a sniper rifle. If you're the kind of player that really likes to play the aggressive recon with a bolt-action rifle, then it might not be the best setup for you, but then again, being an aggressive recon is just a terrible way to play the recon class. I mean, it can be good, it can look really cool in montage clips on YouTube, but let's be honest, nobody's ever going to save the day by playing the aggressive recon with a bolt-action rifle. It's just simply too hard and too inconsistent. So anyway, if you've been playing this game as long as I have and you found yourself not shooting as accurately with the new sniping setup, it's because it's zeroed at a different distance now, and you just have to aim for the head at further distances versus aiming over the head. A different mentality, but ultimately I think a little bit more precise if you're playing the class at longer ranges. Now how about this JNG-90? It's a hell of a bolt-action rifle, one of the better ones for sure, and they have been changing up the sniper rifles. They've seen quite a bit of changes in the last patch. The JNG-90 has one of the fastest bullet velocities in the game. In fact, it is the fastest muzzle velocity for any of the bolt-action rifles, so it makes it very easy to hit those long-range moving targets. It also has one of the slowest rate of fires out of any of the bolt-action rifles, so it means you're going to want to get those headshots, because if you get a body shot, it's going to be much harder to hit that follow-up shot because you're taking almost 2 seconds between shots, and 2 seconds is a lifetime in this game. Plenty of time for somebody to absorb a shot and go running for cover. Now, as much fun as sniping can be in Battlefield 4, it's really more about finding the right map and the right game mode to play on, otherwise you're just going to get wrecked. There's a lot of maps and a lot of situations that even the best players in the world are not going to be able to do very well with a bolt-action rifle. You got to set yourself up for it. Rush is a pretty good bet that you're going to run into some good game modes. Not every situation. Obviously, you don't want to play lockers on rush or metro on rush. Those could be a little tricky. Not saying it's impossible, but you just really got to find your spots to snipe in those situations. Here, as you can see, playing on whiteout, I have plenty of long-range situations, and soldiers stick out like a sore thumb on this map, so it makes it very easy to find targets. And there's a lot of weird little corners and places where they get stuck behind cover because it's a very open map, and they really don't have a lot of flexibility and maneuverability. So once I know somebody's behind a box, I can kind of set up my scope, get ready to shoot them, and as soon as they peek out from behind cover, take them out. Unfortunately, it can be a little bit tricky to find specific rush maps these days. You really just have to join a rush server and wait till the good maps come up in rotation. Dawnbreaker is another map that can be good for sniping, although you kind of have to use the exploits, getting on top of those skyscrapers. I never feel particularly great about it, but it is one of the better spots to snipe. If you're playing on a map that puts you on the same ground level as your opponents and forces you into some CQB situations, you want to make sure that you have an excellent sidearm to deal with those players running full auto assault rifles and CQB. You come up against a guy with an AEK, there's few sidearms that can deal with it, but the G18 is probably one of your best bets. It can dish out a lot of damage in CQB. Not great for taking out multiple targets, but a single threat it can tear through pretty quickly. In fact, it can be fun to set up this sidearm with a suppressor, and if you find yourself getting in a little bit too close quarters, you run with a suppressed weapon, and you might actually find yourself surviving some situations behind enemy lines that you otherwise would not have. Alright, let's talk about some of the basics. I usually talk about loadout and kit and what to bring with you, but I see so many snipers these days making huge mistakes, and it's not so much about your aiming skill. That kind of comes with just playing a lot and getting used to your sensitivity, but sitting still. Look at these guys in the forest. They're just sitting there. They're taking shots at me. They're waiting. They're scanning the environment. When I scan the environment, I'm strafing back and forth. And there I got the Mastery Dog Tag, 500 kills with the JNG-90. Takes quite a while with bolt action rifles. But check it out here on top of this submarine. I'm strafing left, right, left, right, left, right. If I have more options to go, I'll jump up and down. I'll do other things like that. Especially if somebody's shooting at me, I'll try and change position rather than just sit there the whole time and wait for them to hit me. I'll strafe around, and this basically allows me to survive at least a shot grazing right past me, and then I can find a new area to shoot from. I generally don't like to stay in one area if I know I've been spotted or marked out. You want to get out of there, change your location, move it up a bit. These are the best ways to stay alive as a sniper. So many people think sniping is all about accuracy and pinpoint precision, but it's really about being able to stay alive so that you can actually get those shots. I miss a crap load of my shots. I miss most of my shots as a sniper, but I'm alive to take them, and that's the point. The longer you're alive, the more shots you can take, and the more shots you can take, the better you'll get, the more precise you'll get. So work on staying alive as a sniper, not so much your precision. That will just come with practice. But if you are going to be practicing, one thing that I found helps my aim the most, especially when I'm feeling off my game a little bit, is taking a little bit extra time to aim for the head. Rather than just trying to get a quick body shot, take an extra second to go for that headshot, and you'll find yourself getting a lot more headshots than you would think you would, and it'll make you a more accurate, more lethal player in the long run. Anyway, that wraps it up for this episode of Sniper Sunday. I hope you found some of these tips helpful. The JNG is a beast of a bolt-action sniper rifle. You should not be disappointed if you try it out. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.